Hello everybody and welcome to the XP Classic Jets channel, where I talk about simulating classic jet airliners in X-Plane. Hi folks, welcome to another stream. Last few days I've been messing with X-Plane 12, just checking out the whole structure of scenery files and how they work. In some ways slightly better than X-Plane 11, slightly different. And I'm quite impressed with X-Plane 12. I quite like the way it looks. I really say it's more of an X-Plane 11.5 than an X-Plane 12. It doesn't seem to be, quite so much of a change to warrant a completely different number. But such is life. Such is life. So I've got my global 1990s scenery working in X-Plane 12. I basically culled the existing scenery, so all the global airports have been deleted, all the nav aids have been deleted, all the aeronautical data has just been removed completely, and then I can replace it with the custom stuff, and that all works absolutely fine. After a wee bit of teething problems, took me about 2 hours to find an error in one line of code. It was an error that X-Plane 11 lived with quite happily. It would have displayed a DME incorrectly, but X-Plane 11 accepted it. X-Plane 12 just threw it out completely and just wouldn't start. So that's all sorted. So I'm going through the airports that I have installed before I start flying, just so there's a bare bones set of data in there, set of airports in there, and then we can expand on that. And I thought it'd be a good opportunity just to kind of show you how I put airports into the system using WED, or World Editor. This is WED 12, I think it is. It WED 12? WED. Talking absolute rubbish. It's not WED 12. It is WED 2.5.0. That's the one. There we go. But it's X-Plane 12 compatible. Works very similarly to the previous versions. There's a few extra features in there. Again, works very well. It's a nicely put together bit of kit, and invaluable to anyone who likes to mess around with airports in X-Plane. So I thought today I would look at an airport that's probably quite well known to many people, and it is, here we go, it's Phuket in Thailand. These are the jet plates from 1996. If Adobe will actually scroll through them properly, there we go. It's probably not changed that much since the early 90s to nowadays, to 2023. I don't think the runway's been extended, but we'll see. It's got a parallel taxiway, which is quite unusual for a non-major airport, if I can put it that way. And I think obviously the apron areas have been expanded quite dramatically since this plate here, since the mid-1990s. But let's take a look at it. We'll use it as an example, excuse me, and I'll show you how I just put basic airports in. So let's move that out of the way. I'll go to WED, I'll create a new scenery package, and my naming convention is VTSP dash, then the city name, Phuket International, and then I put a date on it, a date that the scenery is appropriate to, 1996, and the reason being, if I have 1970 scenery or 1980 scenery or 1990 scenery, it's helpful to know which version of the airport you're looking at, and then you can further edit that if need be into a different time zone, a different time era, I should say. Right, we'll open that, and I think the last place I was playing with was somewhere in Indonesia. So if we scroll out of there, zoom out, and we'll move across. And Phuket, if memory serves me right, somewhere around here. It's in Western Thailand. Is that it there? Phuket. Voila. Okay. Now there's a purple symbol there, and that means that I actually have an entry for Phuket in the airport DAT file. So I think what I've probably done is put the airport DAT in, just the runway, put a runway in as a basic placeholder. But we'll go in and we'll mess around with that. Right, let us get going. While the photos are loading up, I'll just do create airport, unnamed entry there, and it's going to be Phuket International. Phuket International. Now I'm typing around the microphone, which is why I'm not typing quite as efficiently as I might normally do. Right, the elevation is 82 feet, off the chart. Airport ID, which is different, can be different to the ICAO code, incidentally. VTSP, I think the airport ID is the ID for explain purposes, particularly for the scenery gateway. Right, which we're not going to get involved with because they don't like old airports. Right, add metadata. The city is Phuket. There we go. And country. I'm just going to put Thailand in for now. Actually, I do have it open elsewhere, so hold on a second. They've now started using codes. ISO 3166. 3166, yeah, country codes. I don't know why they've done it. It's a bit of a pain in the neck, but, you know, that's explained for you. They keep coming up with these great ideas which are better than they sound. It's a bit of a pain in the neck for this historic scenery, actually. I've got to see the extent to which I can get around putting in old countries which no longer exist. So Thailand, THA. So I've got to preface Thailand with a THA there. So THA. And at this stage, do I need to put anything more in? Probably yes. The GUI label is I call all of mine 2D because I don't have any buildings in them, and then it objects because I might have some floodlights or something in that, which it says are 3D lights. But anyway, there we go. Yeah, and I'll put the ICAO code in, which is Victor Tango Sierra Papa. Voila. So for now, that's it. That's all I'm going to put in for the airport data. I will put in some air traffic data, air traffic frequencies. So I go back to airport and then I go to create ATC frequency. Okay, so I'm going to call, first one is Phuket ATIS. So it's AOS, and it is 128.0. Okay, now I copy that, which is Control Shift Delta. And we've got a ground frequency. We do have a ground frequency. Ground frequency, that is ground 121.9. 121.9. Okay, we'll duplicate that, and we've now got a tower frequency. Tower 118.1. So second tower frequency, which is 122.7. And then an approach frequency I'll get off one of the approach plates, which is on my other screen, so sorry you're not seeing that. Where are we? Phuket approach 126.7. So duplicate that. Phuket approach 126.7. 126.7. There we go. Right, so that is ATC. I'll group all of those just so that they are... I can put them out of the way. ATC. Great. So first thing I'm going to do is put a runway in. Put the runway in. It is 9,842 feet, which is 3,000 meters. One of those numbers one of those conversions you remember after you've been doing this for a while. Sorry, my internet is not great today. It was actually off for a couple of hours earlier this afternoon, so it's loading up a bit slowly. Tea there. Right, let's get a runway in place. So, runway. 1. I'll go to the end. I don't think it's been extended. 9,846 feet. Yep, close enough for government work. So 0826, it was actually, in the day, it was 0927. So we'll call it 0927. We'll make it transparent just for now. The lighting, there's no centerline lighting, or there wasn't. There's high intensity. I don't like the distance signs. We'll take those out. It's a civil airport anyway. Right, precision, US precision markings on both. Okay, on 09 there's no approach lighting. There is runway end identifiers, unidirectional, I will put in there. There is a simple approach lighting system on the other end, and there's no identifier lights. So that's it. So we've got all the lighting in. I'm going to just tweak the position just so it's right. There we go. So there is my runway. What I will do is I'll put in the runway associated items, which are the PAPIs. Just start on this end. This is a 09. This is 09 PAPI. PAPI left on the left hand side. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Take that one out. Right, 84.57, 84. There we get there. 84.57. In fact, it's got to be the reciprocal, which is 26. There we go. And it is a PAPI on the left hand side. Song about that. Copy that. Shove that over onto the other side. Make that a PAPI on the right hand side, and that's a PAPI 09 PAPI right. Okay, and then go up the other end, and there's PAPI on 27, which is 3.2 degrees instead of standard 3. So 1, that's going to be PAPI 27 on the right hand side. I said 3.2 degrees, 3.2 degrees on the slope angle. PAPI right hand side. Okay, oops, I keep doing that. I keep leaving the selector, and it's 84.57. 84.57. There we go. Brilliant. Delete that stray one that's crept in there. Okay, duplicate. Bring that down to here. And 27 left hand side, PAPI on the left hand side. There we go. So they are correct. It's one of the things that actually annoys me with some scenery designers, is the fact that they don't have an understanding of how PAPI or VASI actually works and where it is. And when you often find Pappy's stuck right up here, and it's just completely wrong. Okay, I'm going to group those. I'll group those and I'll call those Papi Vasi. Gosh, my naming convention's gone a bit astray, hasn't it? Right, 27. Pappy 27 left, that makes more sense, doesn't it? Pappy 09 right, Pappy 09 on the right hand side. Let's be OCD about this and get it right. Pappy 09 on the left hand side. Voila. Okay, and HEC group can go up there. So that is now a runway in the right place, with the right markings, with the right lighting, and with the right Pappy. Now, I started out with some of the nav aids with very rough positioning, using the old coordinate system, which is degrees, minutes, and decimal minutes to one decimal place. Now, that can actually put a nav aid within a circle of about 200 meter radius. So it's absolutely fine for en route purposes. If you were flying en route, doesn't matter whether that you're at 30 flight level 3 something. Doesn't matter if the VOR is there or there. But when you're flying in approach, you need a bit more precision. So you really want everything close in. So what I'm doing is, as I build each airport, then I'll actually tie up the precision of the nav aids. And of course, do bear in mind that many nav aids have moved or aren't there anymore. So this is one that, according to the chart, is still in exactly the same place. There it is on the chart. And there it is. So I have my Earth nav dat file. I'm going to interesting. Now see what's happening here. I actually put in Malaysia's in an area which falls within different coverage zones. So the data for Malaysia was actually in the system twice, and so you're seeing all the nav aids show up twice there. And so again, what I'm doing is I'm just going through and I'm actually taking out the duplicates as I go along. So let's just take that one out. Again, it's just a function of how the data is how the data's been put in here, and it's just pure coincidence that Malaysia happens to be a country that that I'm looking at. There we go. I couldn't have picked that if I'd tried. Right. So the VOR. Let's get these set up. The VOR is the Papa Uniform Tango VOR. Papa Uniform Tango. Which I can't find for the life of me. Papa Uniform Tango VOR. That cannot be right. Phuket. Scrub the last 5 minutes. So we're now going to so let's get the nav aids all set up correctly and just tweaked. You'll notice here that the VOR is in the navigation data file showing positioned here. it's actually there. And if I show you on the chart, there we go, VOR is up here. Bear in mind, of course, that over the years many VORs have been deleted, or they've been moved, or whatever. So we'll just zoom in a wee bit. I'll use this as a marker. There we go. And I am going to grab the nav file. Right, VT, which is Thailand. I think it's the Papa. Here it is. It's the Papa Uniform Tango VOR. And running off that marker there is 88.1139256956 and 98.307000507. Just duplicate that, copy and paste that for the DME portion, and the variation is 1. That's it. I'm just going to put a little tag on the end of this, on the end of the name there, just for now, just so I know I've cross-checked it. So I'll take those lines out. I'll just put a spacer in, just so it makes it easier when you're editing, that you don't inadvertently go and edit the wrong line. Now the NDB is just to the south. I can take that out. The NDB is, I've got it showing here, Papa Uniform NDB. Now, bearing in mind that when the data goes in originally, it's using the old historic coordinates, which are generally given in degrees, minutes, and 0.1 of a minute, and that can place a navaid within about a 200 meter radius of where the navaid actually is. So you sometimes have to use a bit of detective work to try and figure out where the navaid actually is to tie it up. Now, if I look on the excuse me, if I look on the airport diagram here, there's two roads running in parallel, and the NDB is kind of roughly due south of the old original terminal building there. There's the original terminal. The NDB is somewhere down here. And it's probably been built over now. There are these two roads. The NDB is actually somewhere around here. I can't see anything obvious, so whether it's been moved, there's an antenna there. It's actually probably in here. It's actually probably in here, looking at how comparing it to the map, I think that's the NDB there. So let's just define that correctly, and that is, what is the NDB? Phuket NDB, there we go, Papa Uniform. Right, 8.09, 8.1021 50975 83.8, sorry, 98.305994653. There we go. fact, what I'll do is I'll save this. I'm going to close it down, and then I'm just going to, it's going to shot up to the correct alphabetical position. Just open it up again, and there we go. We've now got those two nav aids are correctly positioned. And if I just pull down this map again here, and we just look, you can see there's the old airport terminal. We've got the coastline coming around. We haven't got this little itty bitty bit here. Sticky outy bit is down here. So that's right. That is bang on. And you can see how the apron originally was about so size. That's about it. So it's really been expanded quite dramatically. Probably now about five times as large as it used to be. So yep, that is I'd say that's pretty much bang on, because this road here is that road there. Okay. So let's put some taxiways. Let's put some taxiways in, and generally I start at one end of the runway and I work my way around, and it looks like there's not been a huge amount of change actually on this. If I look, no, pretty much stayed as standard. It's the whole terminal area and the apron area that's really had a huge amount of work done to it. So I'll click on the taxiway selection, and then I just start at one end, and I generally zoom in, try and get fairly close when I start, and then I can come back and just actually tweak everything to make it even better. That's the taxiway. Let's mark that out. Take it all the way to the end. Now I'm not doing, as you notice, I'm not doing the shoulders at the moment. I'm just putting in the actual taxiway. Some variation there. Let me just check the runway width that I've got in the system in a second when I've completed this. I'm just gonna quickly mark in the taxiways. Like I say, I'll come back and I'll just get them. I'll get them tidied up in a short while. There we go. Right, so that is them just mocked in. Right, runway width, yes, I've got 164. I hadn't changed that, so 148 feet on the runway width, and now that lines up perfectly. Spot on. So first thing I'll do is align the texture heading with the runway. So 84.57, 84.57, and then I'll make it transparent. And now we come in and get everything tied up. So I don't know that you need to be so precise, but I generally tend to be. I find if you're tidy with doing this, then everything else is tidy. And the other thing that really annoys me, and I'll show you this in a second with some sceneries. Let me just get these out, and then I'll show you on a more obvious curve. Right, there's that curve in, and there we go. See, just zoom in and get things nice and accurate. Now this is a relatively easy airport to do because there hasn't been much change on these taxiways here, and some of them there's been an awful lot of work that has been done to an airport. It's been expanded or modified quite dramatically, and it can be very hard to figure out where the old taxiways used to be. So I'm literally just working my way along the taxiways. Now let me show you something here that annoys me in that you often see in sceneries that people do. Right, there we go. Right, so I've got this corner here. What you'll often see is people doing things like this. So to take it around a corner, they'll put about 6 different points in, and the whole thing with this scenery, to make it as efficient as possible, is to have as few points as you possibly can. There's absolutely no point in doing it that way at all. Just use the Bezier curve function. So I'll put another point in there. I'll just drag that around, and then I've got my one finger on the Alt key, and I've got the left mouse button clicked down, and I can literally just drag that round, and there we go. And it's much cleaner, and there's far less points involved. So I think it's much more efficient. And I'll do the same on this one here. So I'll just Alt click, left click, create a point, drag that across, then hold the Alt key down, left, and I'll just swing that round into a curve. And just tie up with the runway edges here so that we're not leaving gaps between there'd be a gap here between the taxiway and the runway if I left it like that. And again, it's little things like that just annoy me when you see them in for example in gateway scenery. It's just a lack of thought, or sorry, a lack of care, really. Right, and I'll just swing that round. There we go. So you can see no extra points needed. I've literally just created that curve round with no additional points needed on the taxiway. So that's Echo, taxiway Echo. We're missing out a couple here. This is Bravo. Charlie and Delta. I'm sure you'll have worked out by now. We'll be going in later. But let's just get this tied up. And again, I just find it pays to be reasonably accurate. Just makes for a tidier set of scenery than one with loads of gaps in it. So there, with that curve, I can either I'll try and swing it round from this side, or I'd just put a midpoint in there just to drag that round a bit better. There we go. That's quite close. We've got a corner here. Just tidy that up. That starts then to feed around for a smooth transition onto the runway. And again, just an extra point in there, just to drag that across. And you can see there'd be a gap. If I left this, I'll just bring it right up and align it with the corner of the runway. And then I tend to leave a little bit of overlap. The runway sits on top of the taxiways, so it this wee fillet here is hidden, but it again, it just means there's no gap, unsightly gap between the taxiway and the runway edge. Okay. Well, there's the parallel taxiway pretty much done. So I'll leave that just for now. I'll come back to that in a minute. I'll just finish off a couple of other bits quickly, and then I'll move on to another step rather than complete everything. Otherwise, you'll be sitting here for ages just wondering, what is he doing? So I'll do these. I'll do the turning pads at the end, and I'm just going to adjust them so that they actually match with the runway ends. So let's tidy that up. Again, I'll just get the texture running the right way. It is 84.57. 84.57. We'll make that transparent. And then we'll just tidy these up so that they're nice and spot on. Put a curve in, so I'll add another point, which is Alt, left click, and then hold down the Alt key, left mouse, and just drag, and that drags around the curve nicely there. Just extend that out a touch, just so it's nicely aligned. Once again, you probably, it's more apparent in a kind of top-down look like this, where you are looking at everything very closely. It's more apparent, these little subtleties, than it would be if you were actually sitting in X-Plane in the cockpit driving your aeroplane round the turning pad. But get it right, and I find it looks right. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna put texture back in that for now, asphalt, and there we go. There's the turning pad in. Right. Let me put in. Let me put a bit of apron stuff in here, and then we'll jump into putting some taxi lines, parking stands, some lighting, and then we're getting close. So just, this is taxiway Charlie. And again, I'm not putting in the shoulders, the taxiway shoulders for now. I'll come back and I can do that. I can do that at a later stage, just to, as a kind of step 2 on the airport. There we go. And then I'll try and curve these around. I might need a couple of extra points just to tie them in. I'll get that side in right. They're pretty close, actually. Pretty close. Drag that side up there, and then drag this side down. Yep. Just tweak that one a bit. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. And then what I'll do, is Control-Shift-D, makes a duplicate copy. Move that across. So this is taxiway Delta. Gosh, it's quite different, isn't it? There's quite a difference in width there, but that side's pretty much bang on. And then just tidy this bit up. Tidy this bit up. Okay, and again I'll just get those tied in. So 84.57, 84.57, asphalt 84.57, asphalt. And what I will do is let me put lights on. So I'm just going to go to light attributes here, and I'll select taxiway edge lights blue. Now what you'll see, of course, is that it puts blue lights in around the whole edges, the whole boundary. So what I need to do is just take out the take these ones out, and you notice everything goes. I'll put another point in there just so I can, again, having a bit of a fillet below the apron texture so that there's no gaps, and you'll notice everything goes anti-clockwise. It's just something once you learn that, it's much faster than just being able to tweak these things. And I'll just put that little fillet in there. There we go. So there's those done, and actually I'll do the lights for this end, and again just going clockwise, take out on the runway end, and I'll take out here. There you go. That's it. Job done. Now then, we have not much left to do tarmac wise. We've got the apron here, which is concrete, so we'll put that in. Select taxiway, and I'll start here. And I'll run the apron. Which way shall I do this? Under the taxiway, I think. Put that in there. There we go. There. Amazing how this part of the airport really hasn't changed that much at all. And again, we'll just come round and we'll tart this bit up a bit later on, and just not quite sure how far down this apron comes, but you can see there's a join in the tarmac, so I'm going to use that and for now, and just say that is the extent of the original taxiway. Sorry, the original apron. Run this round. Yeah, that's about right. It's just to the right hand of Charlie. Sorry, you can't see the apron. Sorry, the chart that I'm using for this. Around here, I've messed that bit up, but I'll come back and correct that in a minute. And quite sure how this goes. I'll tidy this up in a minute. There we go. There's the apron roughed in, and again I'm just going to tie it up so the textures all run parallel with the runway. 84.57, 84.57. Let's go transparent. Right, so let's get this tidied up. I'm just going to put in a point here and a point there, and you'll see why I'm not tidying them up in a minute, because I'm thinking ahead when it comes to putting the taxiway, the taxi lighting in. Then we come across to here, so we're going to need, I'm just going to pop that there just to align those points. Swing that round in a curve. And this around as well. There we go. Just tidy that up. Just align it there. There we go. Make sure I've got the curve going the right way around. And here we go. One last bit of curvature. That's it. Pop that, pop another point in there, which again we'll come to in a minute. Then that's okay. Round the corner we go, round we go. That all looks pretty straight. Okay. Oh yes, just align that with there. So we're just kind of running up the edge of the roadway in a corner. 7.4 there, and across we go. That all looks good. Now this point here comes back to here. Put the corner in there. Oh, now then. Right, let's just see. I'm just gonna get this bit here. If I look at this bit here, if I go down to the next, I see it comes virtually down to the taxiway and then across. So this little bit of taxiway doesn't really exist, so I'm just gonna take it down to there. I'll delete these couple of these points here. That can go there. Again, I'm just going to put another point in. Oops, point in on this taxiway, and we'll get the curve going round. Voila. And then I just need that point there just to create an overlap. Now what I hadn't done was I hadn't put in these curves on the taxiway, so better do that now. And this little wee bit here, that's it. That's that. So that's the parallel. So I'm just going to name that parallel. In fact, what is it? It is Taxiway Papa. Alpha Papa Quebec. APQ is that one. And let's put the lights on it. And then we're going to have to come back and sort it out. And it's concrete, and it's a light concrete. So I'll put that in. You can see there the textures are lined up now with the runway. So now I go through again, working counterclockwise, and I just take out the lights where the edge lights where they don't need to be. Now this is another reason actually why I for example, I've not put in the shoulders yet, is that the taxiway lights would be here around the taxiway, not around the full width of the shoulder. So that's right. Okay, come all the way back down here and knock them out here. We're almost done with the taxiways, and then we can get on. I'll put a couple of lines, a couple of taxi lines in. Now I'll align that, and then I don't need the blue lights on this portion of that taxiway, because it's actually apron here. So we can just go along, and that was why I was adding in those extra points, as you can see, was so that we can stop and start the blue lights. Now then, I'm just going to make that transparent because it looks like I haven't fully tied up this section here. Again, I don't know that you really need to be so precise, but I think if you build your scenery with care, then it looks like it's built with care. Take those lights out. Those lights out. And again, what I can do is come back later on and maybe change the taxiway build up so that these the ends of the turn-offs themselves are actually asphalt. I mean, it looks like perhaps the runway has been resurfaced, and they've just resurfaced. So it may be that the runway was concrete before. Okay, so now then, I need to take blue out of here, and then you see I can align that up. Sometimes if you have them aligned and then you have to try and move them to take lights out, it can be a bit of a pain in the neck, and that's why as you could possibly see, I just left them very slightly not aligned. Non-aligned. None there, and I'll leave those just because I've got to come round and do the apron in a minute. And there we go. They then start up again here. Around they go. Perfect. That's it. That's the lights done on the parallel taxiway, and it's actually Alpha Bravo Echo. Alpha Bravo Echo Papa Quebec. Okay, what I will do, I'll put the lights on here. That's okay. I've done that. Ooh, there is a wee turning pad here, which there was back in '96. So that can go. That needs to be added. Too much to it. There we go. And then we'll just put a curve in. Right. Let's align it 84.57. 84.57. And just so I can see what I'm doing, make it transparent. Round we go with the curve. Brilliant. Let's make that asphalt and add the lights, and then we just need to remove it off these two little bits here. There we go. There's the lights. There's one more turning pad on this side, which is showing on the old chart, so it did exist back 30 years ago, or 20 something years ago, 26 years ago. There we go. Let's make that transparent. 84.57. 84.57. Okay, I'm going to put an intermediate point in just to help that curve, because it's a compound curve. It's not a the curve isn't the same the whole way around. And then that's right. Asphalt and blue lights. except along the runway. There. So I think we're pretty much now done with everything that's associated with the runway. So I'm gonna make that now non-transparent asphalt. We do have stopways. I'm going to put them in because here we do have the chevrons. You find a lot of stopways don't have the chevrons on them, so often it's best to just make them slabs of but just draw them as taxiways. Okay, right, we've just got the apron to do then, which is blue lights. So we've just got to go around now. I'm going to take out the blue lights along the terminal. Edge of the ramp there. I've got the blue lights along there to take out. We'll just join those two up again. And the blue lights along there, they are aligned. Right, now this is where you see I didn't align them before. It just makes it easier to to pick this up. Voila, and now you've got a nice smooth set of lights around between the two different sections of taxiway and apron. And the same with this one. Okay, then where the apron goes under the taxiway, we've removed the lights. I'll just remove those while I'm close in here, just so I don't have to come back and do it. Let's do it again. Round we go. No lights there. Just check those are aligned. Round we come. That's it. We're back at the start. So that's it. Now if I highlight that, I'm going to put that. I'm just going to move it down because then it's going to be below this taxiway here, and I'm going to call that asphalt. It's going to be concrete light, but it's going to be. I'm going to make it dirty. Dirtier than the taxiway. So that's now all of the taxiways and the turning pads drawn and lit. So I will. That's going to be aprons. Apron. This one here is the 09 turning pad. 09 turning pad. This one is 27 mid turning pad. In other words, it's not at the end. That is taxiway delta. Now what I want is I actually want delta to be below the apron, because I've got this fillet here and I don't want that to show. I want the apron to be a straight line. And this one is Charlie, and the same with Charlie. I can drop that below the apron, And then there's one more, and that is this one here, which is the 2-7 turning pad. 2-7 turning pad. There we go. So that's them. That's all the taxiways done. So I'll group those, edit. So I hope you're still with us. Hope you're still with us. That's taxiways. Right. And that's the runways. So there's only one of them, but I'll group it. Runways. Okay, so we actually have an airport, which if I in fact I'll try it. I'll export this out into X-Plane, and we'll see what it looks like. And then I'll show you that that it actually needs a bit more work doing to it. What I haven't done is I haven't done alignment work on the ILS, but this is an offset ILS, by the way. You're looking at this going, what is going on? You can see there's the localizer. Basically, because there isn't enough room between the end of the runway and the beach to put the localizer in. So they've stuck it up here, and it is offset. And if I just... There we go. And if I bring that down here, you can see the chart. ILS DME 27, there's the offset localizer. And the localizer heading is 266 degrees magnetic. And the runway heading is... it's 266. It's pretty. It's not. There's not much of an offset. Not much of an offset. So it might actually be bringing you in almost parallel to the runway. But there's probably a couple of degrees in it, just to so that you'd actually cross the extended center line somewhere out. Somewhere out here. Right, so first thing I'll do is I'll just check the target X-Plane version is X-Plane 12, and I'm going to save it, and then I'm just going to try and export it, and it's probably going to come up with some errors, and I think I know what one error is immediately, but let's try export scenery pack, and it's come up with an error. Yes, you must have at least one ramp start if you've got ATC. Now what I could do is just blank out the ATC, and then this other one that they like you using Intel instead of International. I prefer to put International in. But what I'll do is rather than remove or blank out the ATC, is I'm actually going to put in a ramp stand. And how it used to be was stand 1, stand 2, stand 3, stand 4, 4A. And where's my 1, 2, 3, 4, 4A? So I think, in fact, I've just got to pull these down a touch to kind of along, there's a line along there. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4A. This one, did I do that right? Yes, I did. So that is the last stand that there used to be back in the 90s. So these 3 contact stands here are new, and then all the remote stands all along this side, they're all new as well. And on this apron here, these 3 are contact stands. They all used to be remotes. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So the same number of stands. There's still 6 stands there. And then there's a few more remote stands 4 here and 4 there. So again, that looks, yeah, that looks pretty unchanged. Right, so I'm going to put in, I'll put stand 1 in just for now, and we can tweak it and change it as necessary. Oops, I'll put that there. Swing it round so he's parallel. That's stand 1. It is a gate. It is heavy jets, echo, and airline. So I think that'll do. So let's get that back in. So now we have a parking stand, and WED should be happy to export out. So file, save. What I will do is let me move that out just so it's not caught up. Let's group that because we will put a few more in later. That is ramp. We call it ramp starts, I think we call it. There we go. Put that down there. File, save, file, export scenery pack. Okay, it's got a warning about the name. I can wave that and just proceed. There we go. So what we'll do, we'll open this up in X-Plane 12 and then I'll stop this because I think this has probably gone on for a bit too long. But at least we've got you to the stage where I've shown, and again, perhaps I should just say this is the way I do it. I'm sure there are people with different philosophies, but I try and keep things as clean as I can, as few points as I can. Try and make everything smooth, try and align everything as best as I can, and then it just, I think the end result looks much better. But let's try this. Oh, I know what I will do. Sorry. Let me put an airport boundary in. I better do that. It's gonna roughly follow the perimeter fence. Almost there. Now I will tweak this later on for a reason that will become apparent. Let's just bring it up here. So new apron there. Okay, there we go. I'll just put that in. I better put that. Just double check it. I'll just tweak this bit here. Add another little point in there, just so it curves around the road, around the perimeter, and that will become apparent in part 2 as to why I've put that in. Right, save, file, export scenery pack. I've got that warning again. I'm not going to show you. I'm just going to click wave. So that should now have exported to X-Plane 12. In the moment of truth, let me open up that X-Plane 12 installation and let's see what happens. New flight, right, Phuket, there we go. Customize the start point, stand 1, confirm, We're just in the 737-200 as a placer, as a placeholder, because you can't fly it in X-Plane 12 yet, but it loads up quicker than the 747-200 does, so it's a better aeroplane to use when you're just trying out scenery. So we're going to see what it looks like. There's still things to be done, there's still things to be added. There's taxi lines to be added, there's floodlights to be added, there's an airport underlay to be added, there's mown grass to be added, there's more taxi stands to be added. But let's see, and then we might see some issues. We might see some trees in the way on the approach. That's a classic X-Plane issue, is they always seem to have the highest trees or the highest building for miles around. Always seems to be placed off the end of a runway. I don't know why it happens, but it happens. Okay, so we have X-Plane loaded up. We're in the 737-200, just a placeholder, doesn't fly in X-Plane 12, but like I said before, I think it loads up faster than the 747. So let's go to an outside view. There we go. And let's zoom out and see what we have. And so far it doesn't look too bad. It looks flyable. I mean, we've got C at this end, so there's no obstructions to the approach path. Taxiways are all in, looking reasonable. Let's come out this way. Ooh, I do see something there. If I just zoom in a little bit, close in a bit, you'll see where my mouse is here, that this curve in the taxiways curves round a bit and then comes back to meet this taxiway, and that's just because I've actually extended the curve, the Bezier curve, the arc round a little bit too far. So I just need to pull that back a bit, and then this will just be a bit smoother. The tiny little thing, but it is something that I do tend to notice, and I just like to get it right. Let's look at the other end and see what we have. Some trees. Uh-oh, doesn't bode well. Oh, X-Plane, why do you do this? Let me come to the end, towards the end of the runway here, and I'm just going to go down gradually. There we go. So I've actually got 3 whites and 1 red, so I'm slightly above the approach path. And guess what? We've got a whole bunch of trees right in the way. I have no idea why it does this. It's just infuriating. So when I come back in part 2, I just need to put an exclusion zone in here to basically chop these trees down. Now there's a story I can tell you about this in the real world. Maybe I'll do that when I put the exclusion zone in. But yeah, I have had experience with tall trees off the end of runways, and so yeah, I can. I just remembered that one. I can tell you a little story about that. Righty-ho, that I think otherwise for now looks okay, and without having to do any other real work, and apart from those trees, we've got an airport there that does the job. So I will come back in part 2 later on. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that you found it to be interesting and instructional. And I see another little quirk there actually, which I can talk about in part 2. I'll keep that as a surprise. But I'm sure there are multiple ways of doing this. I'm sure there are different ways to draw your airports. Perhaps some better ways. Perhaps some things that I'm doing wrong. So if I am doing something horrendous, then please let me know, because I don't want to be designing scenery that doesn't work as well as it should. But there we go. Welcome to Phuket, and hopefully you'll join us in part 2, where we just tidy things up a little bit and really make the airport usable. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye for now.